I don't know. I just remember you meeting somebody. Yeah. Lady never let me. No. But it was kind of like, well, Craig, before Craig had his boat at 900, I could go on the back of that for about an hour, and then, it wasn't really for passenger, really. But we went one time just out to lunch, just locally, but about an hour away. And then we were coming home, and it started to rain. And it was like, well, you're perfect. It wasn't bad at all. No. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun, Then that day, it's like, we didn't have our rain here. I didn't even know.
Yep, I started the recording, and here we are on Wednesday for Rise Above the Noise, Ask Me Anything. Rachel, I'm so excited that you're here today. And
me too.
So actually what I wanted to do,
you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
And Kathy gave us a thumbs up, so she can hear you too. There you
Perfect.
go. I just wanted to take a minute just to kind of arrive. We were chatting and our energy went everywhere. If you can just take a second and take a deep breath in and arrive here right now, and especially for this topic today on positivity and affirmations. And Rachel, you know that I was so resistant to the whole journaling affirmation. I'm so resistant to the journaling and the affirmation and I have a life of abundance, it's all good. But you and the others in our group convinced me, all right, give it a try. And it has made all of the difference. And now I've bought your cards and I'm giving them away to everybody I know who needs a little bit of your magic. So with that, I'd love it if you could talk a little bit about, what it is you do for work and your business and your life, and then just how positivity and affirmations are in your life.
Yeah, thank you all for joining, and thank you, Susan, for having me. This is so cool. I love how you connect women like this, and we can do this from anywhere.
Anywhere.
So I've even got my little mug. Life is good. Do what you like what you do. It's a good motto for today.
That's good.
So happy August as well. I think it's very fitting that we're chatting about this on the first of the month. I love reflecting at the beginning of the month. So it's a nice way to bring our energy in. So just a little about me. I am Rachel Kaczynski, or Rachel Ski, for those who want to shorten it. And I'm a certified health coach, a freelance writer, and the founder of the Spark Your Bliss affirmation card deck, which we'll talk about a little later. And I work with women on helping them kind of ditch dieting and discover joy around food. And that's kind of where the positivity comes in, because when women come to work with me, a lot of them want to lose weight or fit into that bikini, or they're feeling really bad about how they're eating. And the first few sessions, we really don't talk about food at all. It's really about how they're taking care of themselves. Are they happy in their work? What are they doing for stress relief and self-care? So a lot of the times our wellness and our career and our personal life, it's all connected. And you can't really just eat kale salads all day and, drink green smoothies and expect to feel good if you're not really taking time for you and you're not doing things that light you up and make you feel good. So I think positivity and mindset comes first, and that's why I love talking about this. So really excited to chat today. We're going to be talking about the power of positivity, like Susan said. And a lot of times I'm a very happy person and I'm all about spreading good vibes, but that in no way means that life is all rainbows and butterflies. I'm not like, woo, everything's perfect and you have to pretend you're happy when you're not and all of that. So today I will be sharing 4 tools to help create positive shifts in mindset that you can take away with you and use any day. But it's important to know that I respect that sometimes life sucks and things are going wrong and we can't control what's happening to us, but we can control our mindset. And that's kind of what I'm here to talk to you about. So while we might not be able to control other coworkers or crazy deadlines or things that go wrong last minute, I'm sure as entrepreneurs or business owners, you see that a lot where things just happen outside of your control and you have to kind of rethink the plan. That happens, but we can't change that, but we can change how we perceive that. So that's kind of my outlook. In the past, so personally, and this is why it's so important for me, is in the past 2 years, I've had a lot of ups and downs in my personal life, my career life, my business life, my health, all of that. So just some examples. I left the corporate world about 2 years ago, went completely like out of the blue, cold turkey, and was making like $200 a month after I did that. And now I'm making a healthy salary. So I kind of turned that around, but there was a point where I had barely any income and I just was kind of hoping things would work out. I got hit with a health disorder. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is a form of thyroid disease, and I did not know what to do. I was gaining weight. I was very exhausted. I could barely, I couldn't really work the way I wanted to because I was so tired. And I ended up kind of healing that through food, lifestyle, diet, and positive thinking, really. And I got pregnant, had a miscarriage, and am now pregnant again and expecting our first daughter this month, end of the month. So just all of that happened, and it was a lot of emotions, very draining, also very exciting when things went well. But the point is, throughout that whole process, there were times where I could have very easily given up or thought like, this is not working, life sucks, why is this happening to me? And of course, those things go through your mind a little bit, but you can't let that take control. So I had to really shift my mindset, even when things were really bad, and find the positive in every day. And that's what got me through. And I believe that that's what helps you see positive changes, because what you focus on just continues to bring more and more. So I'm sure many of you can relate, and I'd love to hear some of your stories in a bit, but I'm going to go into just 4 tools that you can use to help shift your thinking, whether it's in the middle of the day at work and you can't leave the office, or you have some time at night to sit down and think about it. So my first and foremost tip that I recommend for everyone, and Susan knows this, is journaling and gratitude. And they kind of go hand in hand. And we'll talk about this more later, but one of the things that makes my affirmation cards so unique is that I have a journaling prompt on every single card for you to do, because I really feel that writing it out and getting your thoughts pen to paper really helps you sort your thoughts and kind of speak your truth. So you can journal just free writing, just writing what comes up throughout the day. The best thing is it's just for you, so you can make spelling errors. It can be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not getting published. It's just for you. Maybe it will inspire a blog post later, but journaling is really like, I like to think of it as kind of a diary as a young girl. You're just sorting your thoughts. You're getting it out there. There's no agenda. One way that's really easy to start journaling is by doing a gratitude journal. And that is simply just starting your day with 3 things that you're grateful for. I like to do 3. You can do 1 to start. Just simply write, I am grateful for blank. And Carrie Yassi, who's one of the She Breeze members, taught us to also continue that by saying, I am grateful for X because. And then you can take that a step further and really think about why that's important for you. Instead of just, I am grateful for coffee because you're drinking it, why? Why is because it makes my mornings really peaceful and it allows me to spend some time away from the kids. That's an example. So really important. And I love this quote, energy flows where attention goes. It's kind of similar to the quote Susan posted this morning. But I love that. And the things we focus on continue to grow. So if we're focusing on lack and everything that's not working, and, you know, my business stinks and I'm having a bad day and why is this health thing happening to me? That's going to continue to attract into your life. So if you focus on what you already have, those things are going to continue to show up and show up and show up. So just a good example, and then I'd love to hear from you guys, but when I left my job, I thought that it would take like a month or two and all this money would start flowing in and I would be like this super successful entrepreneur. And I gave it like 2 months and I was like, why is this not happening? My bank account isn't where I want it to be. I'm stuck. This isn't working, blah, blah, blah. And I went to a talk in Boston with Gabby Bernstein. She's this like a spiritual meditation guru. And I went up to the microphone and I was like, I left my job and, you know, I'm waiting for things to happen, but nothing's working and I'm doing everything and I'm meeting all these people, but my money isn't coming in. And she's like, you're coming from a mindset of lack. And she was actually the one who encouraged me to start doing a daily gratitude journal. I had done it before, but not every day. And especially not when I was feeling like crappy, because I was like, I don't have anything to be grateful for. When you are feeling blah, that's the most important time to write something that you're grateful for, because I know for a fact you can find at least 1 to 3 things every day, probably 10 or 20 if you really tried. So that day on, I just started every day. I would write down at least one thing that I was grateful for. And soon enough, I'm not kidding, like a couple of weeks in, things started to flow. And exactly that quote I read, energy flows where attention goes. Things were coming in, things that I was putting off, or maybe relationships I had made months ago, networking, they were coming through finally. The money was starting to come in. I would get a random client out of nowhere. So it really works. And I encourage you guys to do that. So I'd love to hear from you if you're able to unmute. I know some of you are at work, but what one thing that you're grateful for today on this first day of August? Susan?
Well, I, of course, am so grateful that you're here, Rachel. I'm actually so grateful that we met. I mean, I don't remember how long ago it was at She Breathes, and you talked a little bit about blogging or whatever, and then I was like, I wonder if she'd want to help, or social media, and I'm like, I wonder if she'd want to help out. And since that conversation, and it's interesting, I actually remember exactly where I was sitting when we were having our text. I was outside the Stoughton House of Brews, going to go into work for the day, and we had our conversation. I'm like, something seems to have shifted. So having you, first of all, help me with some of the work that I'm doing, and secondly, really keep me focused on, stay positive. You've had your challenges. You're just always so positive. It's funny, for probably 2 weeks, I haven't done a gratitude journal, and I have been hard on myself. And so today, I'm grateful that you're reminding me that, you know what, get back to doing that, because the magic happens. It's crazy how sometimes I run out of things to write. So I'm just like, I love brushing my teeth. Like I write that sometimes. I'm like,
right.
And every time I brush my teeth, it's like a magical experience because I've acknowledged the power of that pleasure in the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this huge grand thing. It can be really simple. And a lot of people try to make it this huge thing, but it can be the little things as well. So like a good night's sleep or your morning breakfast. So, and Susan, I think it's funny. I think right after that whole incident happened with me at the Gabby event is when we reconnected. And like, then that created a great connection for me. And I met so many other people through you and through She Breathes. So it's really funny how that all came full circle.
Well, we can also express our gratitude for She Breathes. That's where we met Kathy too. I know Kathy. What's your gratitude today, Kathy?
Well, my gratitude is huge because, as you two know, I had that huge accident in the fall, and every day I'm grateful, even during the hardest times of that accident. You know, I would say I'm so grateful for this man that just came in and wheeled me in the wheelchair so that I could go into the bathroom and urinate. You know what I mean? Like, it was like some very basic, simple things. But now my gratitude is that I've come so far and I've healed so well, and it continues. But a very recent gratitude is I started back about 10 days ago to my daily meditation routine. And talk about magic, So I'm having the magic of the meditation and then the gratitude for the magic of the meditation. And so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, yeah, that's what I'm grateful for today.
That's awesome.
You have come a long way.
Rachel Pintarelli, I don't know if you can if you can chat.
I can.
Yay, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. So I feel fairly positive and in touch with gratitude, especially lately. But two things. Great gratitude for yoga. After a few weeks away for various reasons, I'm full steam ahead again with my yoga and just so grateful for it. The freeing up of energy just kind of frees up my mind and my heart, and it's just sort of clearing a pathway for me. So I'm sort of refocused on that gratitude and the importance of it. And then really, really grateful, was thinking about this on my way into work this morning, for these weekly meetings. Because Susan, whether you realize it or not, to me, it's like this karmic thing that I was supposed to be a part of at a very critical point in my life. So by being in these meetings when I can, because of the day job, it's keeping me on the path and in tune with the direction I want to go with my freelance writer business. And it's keeping me accountable. Even though it's not really an accountability group, it is keeping me accountable and positive and focused. So I'm super grateful for that.
Awesome. So maybe if we're talking about setting intentions and affirmations, and you mentioned where you want to go with your business, do you want to speak it out loud here?
Sure. After a lot of stops and starts and flailing around and trying to nail down Jell-O, figuring out what my gifts were and how I can serve other people with them in a freelance way in my own business, I had an awakening and realized that I've always been a writer. I'm a writer now. I always will be. And I feel like it's my gift. So I started a freelance business very recently, still in the infancy stages, called Copy Creative. And I'm really building the foundation of what it is and what it is I'm going to do for others and how to start to market that out from a place of being authentic versus some other stops and starts I've had over the past several years. I just suddenly really feel awake and in tune with what I'm supposed to be doing, and Copy Creative is the way to do it.
Awesome.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, Susan, I agree with this group is just amazing, and it can get, whether you're working a day job or working from home, it can get really lonely at times. So it's really nice to connect with other women, even if it's through this Zoom, because you're seeing everybody and you feel like you're right there with you sharing a cup of coffee. So I really appreciate it, because I definitely deal with that. You feel isolated sometimes. So it's helpful and super inspiring, and it does hold you accountable, even if it's not an accountability group. So Rachel, it sounds like you're doing the right thing. And like the yoga, like you said, is bringing in more flow for you, literally and figuratively. And you're, being in these groups is just bringing good energy into your life. So I definitely encourage to keep up with that gratitude, because it's working, clearly. So thank you all for sharing. The next thing that I always recommend that I have in my toolkit is to find joy in the day-to-day. And this really, my number one way to do this is by writing a nourishment menu, it's called. So thinking about 1 to 10 things that really light you up. And a lot of the times with my clients who are on a diet or they're so focused on the food, I try to get them to not put any food on there, because nourishment isn't just about, what you're eating. It's about how you're living, your career, what you're doing for joy that's outside of, the typical. So is it cooking? Is it sitting in a coffee shop and, you know, doing your writing there? Is it painting? Maybe you haven't painted in years and you used to paint. I know Susan has a lot of really good talents. Like she used to make, or she still probably does, makes like yoga mat bags, and she's so crafty. And so is your daughter. It's so cool, but I would never have known that about her. And then I see these beautiful bags she makes. So a lot of us have these like hidden creative sides to us, and we need to let those out. So thinking about those things that bring you joy. And if you're getting stuck, just ask, what lights me up? So I definitely encourage you to go home and maybe think about that today. Write about 10 things. And then we all love our to-do lists, but every day when you're starting your day for work and you have this big to-do list, or maybe you're writing down all that crap you have to do, I call that the brain dump, just like getting it all out there. I encourage you to add at least one of those joy things to your list and make that a priority. So for example, today I have like, and I have a really busy Wednesday, I always do. So I have like 5 big tasks to do for work, for my freelance work. However, it's really important that I squeeze in something for me, and I'm going to be doing that after this call. I'm setting my intentions for August and kind of setting up my day for success, but it'll probably be something like doing laps in my pool because it makes me feel really in the flow, or it could be like cooking a homemade dinner for me and my husband and eating outside. So I always make sure that thing gets done no matter what. And even if that means that come the end of the day, I didn't get done my expenses, for instance, that can be done tomorrow morning. It's not life or death. So really prioritizing that self-care. And, you know, doing that every morning and just thinking about something for you. Because if we go through, like, you'll notice weeks that you just go, like, you're buzzing through work and it goes by in a flash and you didn't get anything done for yourself. Because as women, we tend to put other people and other things before ourselves. So think about how you can really prioritize that me thing. And like yoga is a great example of that. Then next is affirmations and mantras. So this can be a foreign word for many, but really it doesn't have to be so woo-woo. It's really just positive messages and like intentions that can help you shift your day. And usually it's in the form of a word or a phrase that you can say to yourself to help you really shift and kind of help set the framework for your day. So I'm a big fan of affirmation card decks. I have my own, which I'll talk about, but I use many. I have oracle card decks, which are a little different. Those are more like telling you like a fortune or what's something that's going to happen for you. Then there's affirmation cards that start with like I am, or, you know, they're really more about you. And one that I'm loving lately, because I'm 9 months pregnant, I guess now, in my 9 month of pregnancy, is these Mama Natural ones. And they're for pregnancy and birth. And I have been just like obsessed with these. Like the one I pulled today says, I embrace the gift of motherhood. And they're really beautiful. And then on the back, they have just kind of a message to explain what that means. But as you can see, they start with I, like it's all about you. It's not telling you something that you need to hear. It's I am, and then you can read it out loud. And then you can write your own. And then of course I have my own deck called Healthy Chicks Spark Your Bliss affirmation card deck. And I'm going to pull one for you for the group today. Let's see what we get to start our month. Creativity, which perfect. I was talking about. Perfect. And this says, I harness my inner creativity and I am limitless in what I can create to truly express myself. The supporting actions are paint, buy an adult coloring book, sign up for an inspiring class, and the journaling exercise. Like I said, all of my cards have a journaling exercise. When do you feel like your most creative self? So this is, I actually was talking about this. Susan had asked what a favorite book we recently read was, and I said Big Magic, and it's by Elizabeth Gilbert, and it's all about like letting out that creative magic and how you can create just for the sake of creating. It doesn't have to be because I want this book published or because this painting is going to get hung up at the art show. It can be, I'm going to paint because I like to paint. I'm going to write because I know that writing is what makes me feel good, and maybe it'll get published, maybe it won't. But just to create without any expectations really feels good, and then you're taking the pressure off, I need to create to make this money. Because a lot of us are in work where our business kind of coincides with the creative world. If you're in a writing, or like Susan in social media, even Kathy as a medium, there's a lot of creativity that comes into play. If we put so much pressure on that we're doing this work because we need the money, it takes away that, it makes you just so in control. You need to let go of a little bit of that control and let that playfulness come in a little bit. So having more fun with things that maybe are outside of your usual work can really help you feel like a kid and help you just have fun with creating. Like, I love doing adult coloring, or if you like to sing or paint or whatever you used to love, just do more of that. So it's a fun card for the month.
It's a good one. Thank you.
And the last thing is, and this is a fun one that you can do on your own after this call, because I think it takes some time to think, is to set your intention. So whenever I'm feeling off or I need a reset, and I always do this the first day of the month, so I'm really excited to do this for August, but I always set an intention for myself. And intentions are different than goals. Goals are usually very material driven. You know, I want a new job. I want a new husband. They're usually something physical that we want. Intentions are soul-centered, and they're more about how you want to feel. So that's what you ask yourself. How do I want to feel? That's the simplest way to set one. I want to feel energized. I want to feel free. I want to feel creative. Start there, and then from there you can set your intention. You can keep it like that, like I want to feel free. That can be your intention. Or if you want to feel free, maybe your intention is I will I will focus more on my freelance business so I can slowly exit my day job. Something like that, because it's really in line with how you want to feel. If you want to feel free, you wouldn't set the intention to start a new diet, because that's the opposite of feeling free. You're stuck, that's feeling trapped, you're feeling like you're disciplined. So really go by how you want to feel, and then from there, throughout the month, throughout the year, make sure that the decisions you're making are really in line with that. And that's a really easy way to say no to things, because if you know what your intention is and somebody's inviting you to this networking event, or you have a new client, maybe it just doesn't feel right, you can say no with confidence, because it's just not in alignment with your intention. It also helps you say yes to things that really are in alignment with that. So it's a really great way to set boundaries too, and make sure that the things that you're bringing into your life flow. So I don't know if we have time. Susan, do we have time to read a quick poem?
Go ahead. Sure.
Okay. And then we'll do like quick Q&A, but I just wanted to read this. You guys can feel free to close your eyes. It's one of my favorite poems by Louise Hay. It's like a little story, I guess. Close your eyes if you'd like and get grounded. But think for a moment of a tomato plant. A healthy plant can have more than 100 tomatoes on it. In order to get this tomato plant with all these tomatoes on it, we need to start with a small dried seed. That seed doesn't look like a tomato plant. It sure doesn't taste like a tomato plant. If you didn't know for sure, you would not even believe it could be a tomato plant. However, let's say you plant this seed in fertile soil, and you water it and let the sun shine on it. When the first little tiny shoot comes up, you don't stomp on it and say, "That's not a tomato plant." Rather, you look at it and say, "Oh boy, here it comes," and you watch it grow with delight. In time, if you continue to water it and give it lots of sunshine and pull away any weeds, you might have a tomato plant with more than 100 luscious tomatoes. It all begins with that one tiny seed. It is the same with creating a new experience for yourself. The soil you plant in is your subconscious mind. The seed is the new affirmation. The whole new experience is in this tiny seed. You water it with affirmations. You let the sunshine of positive thoughts beam on it. You weed the garden by pulling out the negative thoughts that come up. And when you first see the tiniest little evidence, you don't stomp on it and say, that's not enough. Instead, you look at this first breakthrough and exclaim with glee, oh boy, here it comes. It's working. Then you watch it grow and see how your thoughts create your desire. So that's one of my favorite little poems about intention setting and how a lot of the times we don't see the results right away, but we have to trust that it's coming, and all of this good stuff we're doing, all of the gratitude, all of the positive thinking is working in behind the scenes, and that maybe we don't see it pop up right away, but it really is rooting. So kind of take that with you as a reminder that what you're doing is really working. It might just take a little time.
That was perfect. Perfect. Awesome. So I know we're running a little bit late. Rachel Pintarelli, do you have any questions? I have plenty of time. I think Rachel Pintarelli and Rachel Ski you can let us know if either one of you have to leave. But do you have any questions, Rachel?
I have about 5 more minutes. But first of all, love that poem. And when I closed my eyes, because I'm in my office with the door closed, so I can close my eyes. If someone walked in, it might look a little weird. But when you got to the part about the little sprout, when the sprout comes up, I literally got a visual of all the times I've stomped right on the sprout. Literally, got the visual. And I don't know, it made me a little emotional, oddly enough, but because I know this time I'm rooting that sprout on. But just a quick question. So first of all, I have your deck. Susan had given it to me as a gift, and I pick a card at the beginning of each month, and I kind of use that to kind of set my course. So I'm a big fan. And then the question is that, the positivity and the affirmations work really great, I like to say, internally, for our internal dialogue. Can you speak a little bit about when you are confronted externally by the negative, by perhaps people that don't necessarily support the direction or being positive or the affirmation, and they're sort of, that outside voice that's sort of telling you it is just a sprout. You've sprouted a million times. What makes your sprout different this time? Can you talk a little bit, just briefly, about some ways to manage that?
That's a really good question, and something that comes up. It cut off for a second.
Oh, there you go.
There. That's a really good question. It comes up a lot. And I think the number one thing you can do is go back to you. So kind of breathe and take it in and go back to how you're feeling. And then send those people, those negative people that are going to come into your life, just send them love and know that that's their own stuff. Another thing you can do is just really meditate on that and kind of keep visualizing your positive changes. And just, again, if you send them, if you're oh, these people suck, they keep bringing me down, that's going to just continue it. And it's easy to do that. I've had a lot of lessons this year on that, on just people that were not in the same space as I am, or, when I left my job, who thought that I couldn't do it, or who, when I was going through my pregnancy journey, weren't supporting me, and I had to let that go. But it's easy to first get angry or kind of send them negativity accidentally. And I think it's really important instead to just go back to you and how good you're feeling, and know that they're not doing that to intentionally hurt you. They have their own stuff going on. The ego's involved. So sending them love and then moving onward and kind of putting up a protective shield. And one of my yoga teachers taught me, whenever you feel like someone on the outside is really trying to get to you and put you down, to just kind of put up this invisible shield and honor where you are and say, I'm okay in this moment. I know what I'm doing is working, I'm on this awesome path. And then after you honor yourself, then you can send them love. So you don't have to be just like angry and then be like, I send them love, because that's not authentic. So first say, I'm okay. Check in with yourself, make sure you're good. And then be like, okay, now I can just send them peace and just send them on their way. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself first before you do that.
Thank you very much. It's extremely helpful.
That was great advice, Rachel. Thank you. Rachel Petrelli, I also read recently the book, The 4 Agreements. Actually, Rachel Ski had suggested that book on one of our accountability groups too. And I think it addresses that as well. It's their issue, not yours. And I love what you just said, like, make sure you're, like, I do that sometimes. I'm like, I feel that love and I do that, but I like what you said about checking in with yourself first, strengthening that core of that, or let's say the roots of that intention that we set, the tomato seed, and then releasing that feeling of sending them love.
Writing about it can help too if you don't want to talk about it. And it can help to write that person a letter and never send it.
I'm famous for that. I've written a lot of imaginary letters.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's
awesome.
a good question.
I think I'm going to wrap up in honor of everyone's time. Kathy sent me a private message that she had to go to her physical therapy, but she said you were doing fabulous and she sent it privately. So she was proud of you too. And I'm so glad to spend the morning with you, Rachel.
Thank you. Such a fun coffee hour.
Yeah. You guys have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.